favorites, Captain Quark. One of the things that we learned from Quest for Booty is that people really missed him. So in this game, you're going to have more Captain Quark than I think any other game we've ever done before. Some old and some new here. We've got Orvis, who's a Zoni leader. He's Clank's father. We've got Alistair Azimuth, who's a new and huge part of the game. He's going to be a Lombax that meets Ratchet and actually becomes sort of like a father figure to him, which kind of goes into the whole theme of do Ratchet and Clank belong together? Is it time for them to go off and have their own adventures? And we can't have a Ratchet and Clank game without the plumber. I think fans would revolt if we didn't bring him back. So
if you are familiar with the previous games, great. If not, I'm just going to quickly recap the story. Tools of Destruction, Ratchet and Talwyn Ratchet was attacked by a brutal dictator who was trying to wipe all the Lombaxes out. Through the course of the game, they defeated him, fought a lot of space pirates on the way, and everything was well and good, and they had won the day. But Clank's kidnapping happened at the end. It was kind of the big surprise and twist at the end of the game and a big cliffhanger. And we discovered at the end of Quest for Booty that Dr. Nefarious was behind it. And that's right where A Crack in Time picks up. It's about a year after Clank's kidnapping. Ratchet's been searching for him ever since and has finally located where he is. And for better or worse, is now rushing to that galaxy with Captain Quark in tow. And nothing good can come from that. So just to kind of recap the franchise as a whole, worldwide appeal, great set of heroes and a killer supporting cast. Tons of weapons and gadgets, and a lot of worlds to explore. Now, more specifically, there was 4 pillars that went into the design of A Crack in Time, and 4 things we really wanted to do differently with A Crack in Time. Those were time, space, heroes, and heart. I'm going to let TJ kind of talk about heart.
all right. Well, I think what we learned in the PS2 games was that we were doing a lot of fast and loose storytelling. It was very much video game stories. Everything just kind of suited the gameplay, and it was great for the time. But when we're doing a PS3 Ratchet and finding out what makes a PS3 Ratchet, we really wanted to go a little bit deeper into the characters, a little bit deeper into the story, kind of bring sense to the universe. So the 2 characters that we really decided to use to help with this is Orvis and Alistair, who are going to be very important to Clank and Ratchet respectively, because Orvis is Clank's father, and Alistair actually has strong ties to Ratchet's family as well. So it really helps bring a sense of each character's origin story to the front. So we're going to answer a lot of the big questions people have had about both Clank and Ratchet and the Lombaxes through these characters.
And kind of one more point I'll add on that is that we felt, even quotes and reviews said that Tools of Destruction was the first movie to kind of make you feel like you're playing your own CG animated movie at home. But while we achieved the look, we never really felt like we achieved the emotions that a CG animated movie has. We never felt like it pulled at the heartstrings, like, if you see Up or something like that, where, it's really just tugging at your heart and there's these emotions. And so we really, really focused on that with the story in this game and having some really heartfelt moments. And hopefully when you play through it and you get to the ending, you'll see that, very present in A Crack in Time. So, if we're going to focus on heart, we have to focus on our heroes as well. And what we kind of looked at was who are these characters and what stuff fits them. So for Ratchet, he's a mechanic. We brought the wrench ability from Quest for Booty, where he can pick things up and he can manipulate the environment. We gave him Constructo weapons, where he can modify weapons. And then we gave him the Hoverboots, which kind of fits his Lombax personality of, looking before you leap and throwing caution to the wind by speeding around on just a pair of boots. For Clank, who's kind of the more thoughtful character, the time puzzles are really the big thing, and as he's learning about his past and his destiny at the Great Clock, he's also completing these time challenges that I think are, something really good and something that, really takes his gameplay a large step forward. Talk a little bit more about that in the time section. And then, we brought back a lot of the key things for Ratchet and Clank as far as brand weapons, like the Groovatron, the Rhino, Mr. Zircon, the Morph weapon, which now turns your enemies into a monkey, and gadgets like the Swing Shot. So all of that came back to continue focusing on developing who Ratchet is. Space, I'm going to come back to, and we're actually just going to show gameplay demo and talk about it more there, but this is a huge focus for us in making the galaxy feel like it was living and breathing, and we spent a lot of time on this, so we'll come back to that. And time. It was the central theme of the story. It's the title of the game. Clank is at the location that's controlling all time in the galaxy. Ratchet sees localized time distortions when he's walking around, where columns are collapsing and then coming back together, or an explosion is frozen in the middle and there's a collectible Ratchet needs to get inside of it. So there's a lot of various things that happen there, and you see this set piece that we built for the Great Clock, and Clank spends the entire game basically there, and you get to see this piece, which I think is one of the best levels we've ever built, and one of the most beautiful levels we've ever built because we put so much time into it. The time record gameplay we kind of talked about a little bit, but you'll have a chance to play it. There's going to be a PSN demo. I mean, and if you have review codes, we're going to make sure people get a chance to check this out because it's definitely indie inspired. We definitely really wanted to give you something that has that kind of aha moment where, you know, it's weird and you're not really understanding at first, but as soon as you get it, it really clicks, and players will hopefully appreciate it, but we'll find out in the next few weeks. And last but not least, we haven't really shown too much of this, but there are past, present, and future levels in the game or this isn't an alternate present, I should say, where Ratchet will arrive at a planet that's been destroyed. It was war-torn. It's a bleak present. He goes back into the past. Clank, there's certain planets where time ribbons are there, and it's central to the story, and so Clank can open a time portal from the Great Clock. Ratchet can travel into the past to the middle of the war and help turn the tide of the war, and then when he returns into the present after he's changed the past, now all of a sudden, you know, it's this peaceful, serene valley, and, you know, people are fishing and everyone's happy. So we wanted to kind of control the time travel in the game because if you remember Back to the Future 2, at one point they have to pull a chalkboard out and explain the story to the viewers. We didn't want that to happen, but we definitely wanted to get some time travel in there. So there are a couple levels like that in the game where Ratchet will get to go back to the past. And one final thing that isn't one of the 4 pillars but became very important to us after Quest for Booty was making sure there's a lot of replay value. And in that sense, we've taken Lord Vorsalon. He's a special replay boss, so you cannot beat him until you're on your second playthrough of the game, and you have all 40 of the Zoni, which are kind of scattered throughout the galaxy. And then he's a super hard, kind of Omega boss who played the Final Fantasy games. They like to hide really hard bosses. That was sort of our inspiration in a lot of ways. Like, you have to basically level all of your weapons up, have Ratchet's best armor, have him fully upgraded and leveled up, and have as much health as possible before you take him on. And when you beat him, you get the Insomniac Museum, which is pretty cool. You know, trophies are in, skill points, which we've had ever since Spyro 2, and are kind of the you know, forebearer almost of achievements and trophies, really, before achievements and trophies existed. Gold bolts are there. We also have, when you see space, there's moons everywhere, and as you get closer to the end of the game, these moons get really, really hard. They're totally optional, but one thing we heard over and over again from our hardcore players is, hey, you got to throw some stuff in on the side for us to go do, and they really want that challenge. Same thing goes for Clank. You can go back into Clank's subconscious after you've completed the subconscious sections, and there are some super hard time puzzles for the people that really enjoy the time puzzles. All of it's optional, but we really wanted to make sure that there is challenge there for players that wanted to find it. And last but not least, we are tracking all of your statistics and uploading them to stat servers, and we will be hosting fully localized leaderboards and stat tracking on the Insomniac Games website, so you'll be able to go and see how many enemies you killed and bolts you've collected, and compare against your friends or compare against, you know, whatever insane Ratchet fan has been playing the game for 8 months straight and has 60 billion bolts or something. So it should be fun. So that's kind of wraps up what we're doing with this game, you know, time, space, heroes, and heart. And we hope you see that when you actually play the final game, and we will go ahead and jump into a demo now of the space section.